This Al-Qaeda adapted to, because Al-Qaeda is a learning organisation. The Bin Ladens are a learning organisation. Okay? They are adapting to American foreign, domestic and economic policy. They're relying on the Federal Reserve continuing to have to expand the money supply to pay for these wars that Bin Laden is starting in various parts of the world. You know, from, not as Michael Schuerer said, in 2001 they were coming from one platform, that was Pakistan and Afghanistan. Today they're coming from 5 different platforms: West Africa, North Africa, the Horn of Africa, Yemen and Pakistan, Afghanistan, and possibly even there's insurgencies in Thailand and Indonesia. And if Indonesia goes, then the majority of the Muslim population will be on the side of the Bin Laden and Saudi crime families. Osama Bin Laden's role in this has ended. He is dead, right? So you know what time this video is produced. He was killed on the 1st of May at 4 PM in Pakistan. His role in this has ended, except as a martyr for their cause. He was wounded 4 times in combat, has written over 1,000 pages of and many videos declaring Al-Qaeda's goals is being to push the invaders out of the Islamic world, as he would call us, and was purely defensive. Whereas as Michael Schuerer said in his part of this video, which was in the first part, was that the Saudis are imperialists. They have the reach to have even have killed George Bush if they wished to. They even had the reach to kill Clinton if they wished to. Would the US government have wanted the American people to know that? Would they have wanted people to know that the American president could have been killed by a foreign government or a foreign crime family, such as the Saudis or Bin Ladens? It was certainly a possibility on 9/11 that it could have happened. That is why I believe that the Saudis and Bin Ladens used corridor of fear tactics on 9/11 to get intelligence from people so that they knew that Operation Northern Vigilance was going on in an operation between the Americans and Canadians to defend the North America against a scenario of a Russian attack, which wasn't happening on 9/11, but it was an exercise. That's why people said, "Is this real world or exercise?" in CENTCOM. This was this was why they chose that time and that date to attack the United States through hijacking those planes. I believe that, as was shown in many videos on YouTube, that there were people working in the basement and there was a van and truck in the basement of those buildings, as was proven by the puncturing of the seawall on 9/11. Explosives were used in the first attempt to bring down the World Trade Center through the use of a van. They tried the same tactic again, but this time with planes, in an additional attempt to bring the buildings down. With over 40 tons of fuel, we must now, on each plane, we must now get down to where the structural problems of bringing down such a building with planes. The buildings were designed to withstand multiple hits of planes. That is for certain. The question of whether there was explosives used in the buildings and then how many levels, where they were placed, whether they were in the central core or not, is something to be discussed by engineers. But who put them? But simply if they were used there, does not discount the Bin Laden and Saudi crime families as the ones who put them there. They have the ability to gain access to those buildings, and that is where the 9/11 Truth Movement's argument, which is not kept to 9/11 Truth, but has gone on to be about conspiracy theories, you know, has fallen down. They've put forward an argument which can never be proven without the loss of thousands of people's lives again. You know, it's a trap. It's a trap to taint people like Ron Paul, who wanted to be president. It's a trap to taint and decapitate the American government. All right, these people are evil people. They're Thatcherites, as we would call them in the United Kingdom. They're far more dangerous than communists because they infiltrate people's organisations, all right, and take them over. The Al-Qaeda, of course, is a far more powerful and potent organisation than those people, the Thatcherites like Jones and the others. But these people, like Alex Jones, are very dangerous people because they're getting people to believe that the Americans would do a false flag operation on their own people. I do not believe this. I believe the Binladens and Saudis did 9/11 as a double false flag. What is a double false flag? A double false flag is when you design an operation to make it look like that you do an operation that is made to look like a false flag for other people to believe that the American government did do it. But the American government didn't do it. That's the key position. And it hardens the two sides of the argument, whether it was an outside job or an inside job, to the point where neither side can come to any accommodation, so thus it splits public opinion. And that's what they want. They want America divided. You know? They want to blame, eventually, they want to blame it on Europe, basically. That America, that central bank corruption, the Federal Reserve, was somehow to do with 9/11. That's not the case. There is a problem with the Federal Reserve. There is a problem with the Federal Reserve exporting its inflation into Europe, which Europe is thus having to pay for American foreign policy, for American foreign wars, American problems, you know, in their own domestic economy. But, you know, the United States is at fault for itself there by allowing itself to have a rogue central bank. The European Union doesn't have a rogue central bank. It has a perfectly working central bank, or almost perfectly working. We do not have substantial inflationary problems or deflationary problems within the European Union. Yet Jones wants to go and tell people that somehow the European Union was behind 9/11. That is complete bullshit. You know? What has the European Union done in recent times? It's probably helped the Arab Spring, you know, which will bring democracy, liberty and equality to the Arabs and the Muslim world in general, if it works, right? I can understand Michael Schuerer's point. It's a valid point. From the Americans' perspective, they want to withdraw and not have interventions. That is perfectly acceptable. From Nial Fergusson's point, he's arguing from an old historical imperialist point of view of empire for the Europeans. You know, from my point of view, Europe is not an empire per se in that it is exporting its population and people to the Arab world or the Middle East. It's trying to create unions which are trading blocks which will trade with the European Union, stop immigration. Okay? So that is the point of the European Union. We're trying to have a free flow of people who are of Nordic, Roman and Celtic descent within Europe itself. And we're trying to stop immigration coming from North Africa and the Middle East into Europe by building up their living standards, you know. Who will win out, I'm not sure, whether Michael Schuerer is correct or not. But we should not try and make it happen that the Islamists do come to power in the North Africa, the Islamic Maghreb and the Middle East, you know. If the 9/11 happens again, it might be with nuclear weapons. Will the United States stand by and then decapitate its own government? I hope it will not.